Hey guys, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video, and this time I'm going to be having a look at an add-on. It's been a while since I've really looked at add-ons, and it's something that people constantly ask me about. Today we're going to be covering TellMeWhen. TellMeWhen is probably the single most useful add-on that I know personally use, and that in combination with OmniCC, which I'll probably end up covering in this video. What is TellMeWhen? Well, you can see these buttons here, they're just floating there. I placed them there, and they, right now, show me cooldowns for things. So, let's just go and use Stampede. There you go, cooldown starts. Maybe that's not the most efficient way to show it, but just as an example, if I am doing, say, Rapid Fire and Bestial Wrath, boom, if I can hit my buttons right, not be an idiot, it counts down. But then, once I use Bestial Wrath, I have a second one there, which actually tracks the duration of Bestial Wrath, and I have one here which tracks the duration of Rapid Fire. Now that's a really handy way to do your cooldowns. It just helps me understand how much longer I have with a certain cooldown, or, just various things like that. It really is quite useful. And this could be used for so many things. For example, here's Frenzy. I get stacks of Frenzy. I could track my stacks of Frenzy. And though, of course, that's kind of already dealt with your UI. But you can basically track anything you want with this. And that is essentially just how I use it with my Hunter now. If I type in /TMW, that brings up the config mode. Not too sure what this little button here does, or this actually, but... I think I do cover Focus Fire here. What am I talking about? Anyway, so, just to show you what this is doing here. If we go to main, choose what spells to check. I typed in Bestial Wrath, I selected the correct one. That means that it will be taking a look at this button here. It'll be looking at Bestial Wrath, and I have it shown up, or set up here, so that when Bestial Wrath is usable, it's at 100% opacity, and when it's unusable, it's at 50%. But then, when it's unusable... Oh, if I could turn around, I think my character's trying to kill something. Yeah, when it's unusable, though, it still shows a timer, and it shows text. Now, that text is done by an add-on called OmniCC. If I were to go and just say... Am I still trying to kill things? Stop it, character. Yeah, whatever. Let's just go... I'm not typing 44 there. There, OmniCC is what's putting those numbers on my bars, so this add-on makes use of that. Now, you can do other things, like put on an overlay for your power bars. Maybe the same for timer bars, duration requirements, stack requirements, so maybe it could only show something once it hits a certain amount of stacks. Various things like that. Now, I'm going to show you how to set this up, so let's just jump over to my Paladin. Okay, so we are back on my Paladin, and after a little bit of testing, I've got it so the Bastion of Glory works when we track it TMW, but let's just reset that and show you from scratch. So, what is Bastion of Glory? Well, basically every time I use my Judgment, or my Crusader Strike, or my Shield when it procs, I get a stack of Holy Power, and when I get 3 of those, I'm able to use Shield of the Righteous, and every time I use Shield of the Righteous, I get a stack of Bastion of Glory. Now, whenever I get 5 stacks of Bastion of Glory, that's ideally when I want to use Eternal Flame. So it's a really handy bit of information to know, as a Paladin, just how many stacks of Bastion of Glory you have. So, let's go track it. Now, first of all, what kind of thing are we doing? We're doing a buff or debuff. We're watching the player. It's called Bastion of Glory. You see it brings up, sort of suggestions here, so I click that, it's a buff. When there's nothing there, we'll just put this down to 10% or something, just to show you. We can put on a timer with text, we won't bother with the global cooldown. Now, we could get it so this would only appear when I have 5 stacks, but I generally prefer to have all the information there on hand all the time, so I generally wouldn't go for that. Now, there are some other things that we can do, I'll talk about that later though. You'll probably notice it's not really got the correct icon at the minute, so as you can see there, when it's at 10% opacity. I should probably actually just turn that up for the sake of everyone being able to see it. There we go, 35%, much better. Okay, now it doesn't actually have a correct icon. Well, that's because it hasn't actually seen the buff yet, so I'll go get myself some Holy Power. It'll take a second. I really should just get a bit more haste in this character. There you go. So, what's it showing? The amount of stacks that I have, 1, and then it's showing how long is left. 15 seconds, let's use it again. Boom, 2, 20. It updates correctly. And that's a really handy bit of information. And you can use this to track anything on your class. Anything. Basically. Let's just go use Eternal Flame. We use that, and oh, our stacks are gone. Now it's not opaque anymore. In terms of some cool things you can also do, if we just bring this up, And, right, conditions. You can make it so that something only happens when certain conditions are met. So for an example, if a certain thing exists, or is alive, is in combat, if if something dual spec, look, this is stuff that I have never had a need to use. You can track archaeology fragments. You can do so much. Now, this is just not the sort of thing that I dive into, honestly, because it just goes beyond my use of the add-on. For an example, you can have event handlers. So on duration changed, or let's just see, on stacks changed. So whenever I gain a stack of Bastion of Glory, maybe you could play a dinging sound. I have no idea actually how I should, how to set this up. You can even do a custom sound file. Yeah, TellMeWhen is great for tracking things. I can track my Bastion of Glory in this. Let me log into another character and show you what I use TellMeWhen for on it. Okay, so here we are on my monk. And the monk is a class that's got a very fast rotation. There's a lot of things you need to keep in mind. Therefore, it's really nice having TellMeWhen to track all of my cooldowns for me. So, in the interest of doing something, let's just grab one of these tigers. Actually, let's get one of the oxes, yeah. We'll go find ourselves an ox to kill. Unfortunately, I just happened to be here in the time this isle when I started. I should really port back, but hey, let's not be sane. Let's go find something to kill. Now, there's a few frames here that you can't actually see. There we go. These Death Adders have got plenty of health. Hopefully it doesn't nibble me to death. That'd be rather embarrassing. Let's just kill this tiger first. So, first thing, it tracks my my Tiger Palm, or whatever it's called. It tracks the cooldowns of all these, and it tracks my brew. Whatever that brew is called, I forget the name. So, when we're in combat here, I know that if I look at all these things here, the conditions are roughly okay for me to be able to use Fists of Fury without gimping myself too badly, because you always want to use Rising Sun Kick on cooldown. But even if you don't understand what's going on with all this monk mumbo-jumbo I'm talking about, you can see that a lot of key abilities here are being tracked. A lot of information that is in various different places. My ability cooldowns are sitting down here. My buffs are over here. Well, TellMeWhen can do is just bring them all up in one nice little bar. Another thing you can do with TellMeWhen is set up, well, I say bar, these are icons. You can also set up TellMeWhen so that it uses bars, just like a countdown bar. I don't find much use for it, but there are many things, of course. I mean, it is very useful, yes, but it doesn't particularly do much for me. So let's just add another icon group, we'll add some bars, and then you can see they'll have the icon, then a little bar for the duration. For me, it just takes up a little bit too much space, and I'm totally okay with the icon setup. The actual setup of the frames is the exact same, though. Anyway, that's been a little bit of a look at TellMeWhen. I hope you find it useful. It really is a very, very good add-on, and especially just if you're raiding. All that information is at the tip of your fingers, so that you know what you need to know when you need to know it, and you can just keep an eye on the fight itself, instead of constantly looking at various bars and worrying about your class cooldowns and all those things. Anyway, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching, hope you found it useful, and I'll see you next time.